Hydraa is very powerful. People in the room who are unaware of the Hydraa is doing some amazing job. Basically, it is Hyderabad Disaster Response and Asset Protection Agency, that is Hydraa. Mr. Ranganath heads it. He is the commissioner. He is leading the charge from the front, and he's been doing some of the amazing job. I want to highlight one example here that I was doing research. I saw a viral video. I was thinking that this is some random video, but that was the work done by Hydraa. That video was particularly that there was a water tank, huge, that was occupying the space, which could have been else used as for public interest. They demolished it with a proper planning, proper strategy. There was no harm to anyone, and now this is being utilized for the public good, and that is where the Asset Protection Agency comes into picture. Now, I want to understand that this is recently formed. So what are your, as he said, you have the powers to do everything. Especially the tackling the encroachments. What are your experiences, especially in the city of, Hyderabad and key regions?
Yeah, as you rightly said, Hyderabad Disaster Response and Asset Protection Agency, Hydraa, is basically an enforcement agency, primarily focusing on disaster response and asset protection. Now, both these are intertwined actually. Disaster response or disaster mitigation per se is linked to protection of assets. How? Like in case, you protect a lake, that's a water body, or you protect a stream, a nala, then naturally, water which has to flow to the low-lying or an area where a lake is formed, in case if it gets encroached, or if it is totally filled up, or if a stream is totally, filled up with debris, where will the water flow? How will the water flow? Now, that is the reason for urban flooding in almost invariably in every city is facing in India. Urban flooding, coupled with the whatever climatic changes that have happened due to various human factors, that has resulted in you're seeing of late cloudbursts, and I believe this year we have seen more than 11 cloudbursts in this monsoon. Cloudburst is like 10 centimeters of rain in just about an hour, or 5 centimeters of rain in an half an hour. So we call it a cloudburst. Now the nalas or whatever, the lakes and all are encroached, and water has to flow on the roads, and it gets, the low-lying areas are inundated, and the roads are totally clogged, and you find heavy traffic jams. So this is a phenomenon in every city. Now, what is Hydraa doing? Hydraa, as you rightly said, it's a year-old organization. Last year, July 18th, Hydraa was constituted by an executive order. The government has created a GO, and we were vested with various powers under various enactments. Like, Hydraa has powers under Municipalities Act. Hydraa has powers under Irrigation Act. We have powers under the, revenue powers, revenue-related powers. So likewise, for instance, I'll just give an example. If there is a lake and there is a encroachment which has come up in a lake, somebody has built a house or some resort or a guest house unauthorizedly, without permission. Earlier, what was the case? Earlier, irrigation used to mention that there was an encroachment in the lake. And who has to remove that encroachment? The permission was not granted by Municipal Administration Department. And the lake land is also, Revenue Department also has certain rights over, removal of the encroachments. Now, this is, lots of agencies were there, and there were issues relating to coordination. And who has to bell the cat? Nobody used to bell the cat. So all was, when we had, had this Hydraa created last year, I could see lots of, the speaking orders. Everything is there. Process has already been done, but finally nobody bells the cat. So the notice is given, the speaking order is given, the other side gives his reply, all that is taken into consideration and a final order is issued. But final demolition doesn't happen in an encroachment. Now here now, Hydra what it does is, you have the powers under Irrigation Act. So naturally, if somebody constructs in an FTL or a lake, so Hydra decides whether it is in FTL or outside FTL, number one. If it is an unauthorized construction, municipality used to do it whether it is an unauthorized or authorized. Now Hydra decides, through various, whatever powers we have been given, we decide whether it is an unauthorized or an authorized construction. And revenue in case if it is a government land, for instance. So that also we take into cognizance. So now all these powers put together, and we have a Hydra police station also, which has been inaugurated by the Honorable Chief Minister recently. And we haven't actually started the issuance of FIRs, but once we start issuing the FIRs also, then Hydra will have the police powers also. So we have a multiplicity of powers that have been delegated. You have all this put into one, and that's where I think Hydra has made a difference. And last year, if you see, just in from last July to this July, we have reclaimed more than 30,000 crores worth of land, more than 500 acres. So many of the lakes, you find many of the lakes have totally disappeared. I'll just quote an example of a Batkama Kunta, which is near Usmania University. This is a lake of about 15 acres size, and this was there in the village map, and also village map is you call the cadastral map or a village map. Every village has a map. And this was there in the revenue records, and this was there in the Survey of India topo sheet. Survey of India, that's a central agency, which has done the survey in, you have surveys done in 1970s, even 1930s and all. So the lake is present in almost everywhere, wherever you look, Survey of India topo sheet or a village map and revenue records. But that has been encroached. And somebody says that, some grabber says that it is his land, the lake is his land, and he claims that he is the owner of that land, and through an agreement of sale. And we fought it out in the court, in the High Court, and High Court has, totally supported us. And the land which has been filled up, the lake which has been filled up, totally with debris and which is all dumped, we have now made into a beautiful lake. Okay. All the adjoining areas, the colonies adjoining to that, or the buses which were adjoining to that lake, are now flood free. So earlier they are all the, mostly flood affected areas. And you have a, morning only we had been to that lake. I find a lot of migratory birds coming there. And you have lots of, that is now, the water table, naturally it increases. And flooding, mitigation happens. And you have a beautiful, walking track all around. We have developed a lake. Hydra has developed with the government funds. So it's like this, we have taken many lakes like this. And we are trying to protect these lakes. Incidentally, I'll just share you an thing. Last year, after the formation of Hydra, I had been to the National Remote Sensing Agency. The scientists there have shown me a PowerPoint presentation saying that almost 61% of the Hyderabad lakes have totally vanished, and only 39% is remaining. So now, in case if you do not at least check at this juncture, probably in the next 10 to 15 years down the line, you'll not have any lakes or water bodies left in Hyderabad. So that is the same case with the streams also. Now when the streams are totally encroached, how will water flow? You have a gradient, water flows from a higher level to a lower level. So when that is disturbed, when this particular lakes, streams are encroached, naturally this is, the water flows on the roads and it gets into the, colonies and, houses and all. That's how the flooding has, urban flooding has, that is very prevalent now. Not only this, even the parks, for instance, the green spaces. Hydra protects green spaces also. So we have reclaimed more than 71 parks in this year, last 1 year. And now almost every day we are reclaiming few acres of land, few hundreds of crores of year. Almost invariably Hyderabad it starts from, 10 acre, an acre starts from 10 to 20 crores to almost like about 100 crores. So we are reclaiming land, or we are trying to protect or trying to get back the government land or this, community land. A lake is a community land. A park is a community park, right? Almost every day we are getting hundreds of crores of rupees back to government, right? So this is I'm sure this year we'll be almost touching a 1 lakh crore figure also. So that is, I mean, that's the way, even that's how the things are going now. And many of them, you find a lot of encroachments and lot land grabbers. They try to come with some fictitious documents or fabricated documents and try to play with the system and get out the lands. And many are the government lands or whatever, you have parks or you have the lakes and all, they come out with some fabricated documents and try to knock away. Every inch of land or every square foot of land is quite costly. So the prices of the lands have made these sort of things possible. So this is what Hydraa is checking now. And wherever there are permissions to any of these buildings or the structures, Hydraa will not demolish any of the such buildings or we are not after any of the structures or any of the buildings that have been permitted. Only unauthorizedly constructed or where it's an encroachment, those things only we try to take it over.
Against the land grabbing basically.
Exactly. This is against the land grabbing and disaster response. We have done, if you see this year, we have removed it, we were given the responsibility of, maintaining that whatever, desilting and all. Just in one junction near Amirpet, this is hardly a few kilometers away here, in just one junction we removed more than 20 trucks of silt from the pipelines. Till now we have removed more than 2,500 trucks of silt from the pipelines and the nalas. So when you maintain the nalas and the pipes properly, this flooding, whatever that, at least, the disasters can be mitigated to some extent. So maintenance of the infrastructure which is there in place is very, very important. And creating additional infrastructure is important. And now coming to the main question, now Hydraa has brought in a semblance of, a semblance of security to the purchases also. Now you cannot just grab away any piece of land like that. Now public are more secure and more so, it's like, we are getting onto that, path of sustainable development where the real estate is going on a very long, which is more long lasting and a sustainable mode. So this is what the country requires. You cannot just, if you buy a plot of say some about 1,000 square yards or a 500 square yards and just, you keep guessing whether the land is safe or has been encroached or whether the documents are fair or not or correct or not, or whether they have brought permission showing at some survey number or somewhere and building a place at some other, building at some other place. All these things will undergo a check now. So there's a transformation which is going on and this is for the better of the Hyderabad's real estate. That's what I feel.
Sir, sorry, too late to you. So but the information was so nice and awareness related, so it was going on. So what are your experiences when it comes to the ground reality, rural reforms?
RERA reforms?
Yeah.